Welcome to It Doesn't Take a Genius.
Audio and video probably fight us on this because one wants one and one wants the other. But like long form podcasting, I think part of the magic is that you are getting to know the hosts a little bit.
Right. No, I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, how can you not? Right. You look at Joe Rogan and he's 3 hours with a guest.
Yeah.
And he says that. He says at some point, like an hour, 2 hours into it, they run out of the scripted stuff. They run out of talking points. They run out of their usual material. And then they just have to be themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, hey, look who showed up. Me.
Yeah.
And so, that was, and I've heard him turn down guests that won't do, people, I can do 45 minutes. Nope. That's 45 minutes is probably your typical address, keynote, speaker presentation or whatever.
Yeah, we don't need you on.
Right. So, and then he helps out that with, drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're all
drinking. The inhibitions a little bit.
Yeah, they're all drinking bourbon and, yeah.
Well, it is, I would say, we talk about authenticity in this culture a lot. And by the way, did I tell you that I'm now using a safety razor? Did I tell you this?
You said it. I don't know.
A little bit of blood here.
Right.
I mean,
I was waiting for you to show up with maybe only half a face.
Well, I watched a YouTube video. Huh?
The shocker, how-to YouTube video.
Well, and my dad didn't teach me on a safety razor, but my dad did use a safety razor at one point. I know this.
Oh yeah, yeah. My dad was in the Navy. I think in the Navy they issued them. I mean,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was like the tool. Yeah, there was no choice.
Well, I have a 1960s era Gillette Select, and there's a Select Slim and a Select Fat Boy.
Ooh.
I think it's what it's called. I've got the Slim. And I mean, my local barber who uses a brush shaving, when he does it in store with a straight razor that he has a strop for and all the rest. He told me what to do to clean it up, get it in working order. He told me what blades to order. Shout out to D&V Barbershop.
So you didn't just go buy the Walmart safety blades?
No, I asked them what to do, and they said these are the blades we like because they last a really long time and they're cheap. I believe it's Dorco brand, I think is what it's called.
Okay. Yeah. To me, I would have, thought you'd run to the store, but I'm sure there are, better blades than.
Well, apparently we're talking about authenticity in this rambling Joe Rogan-esque episode because why, I thought about that. Why, what's my process here for getting to a place where I'm actually using a straight razor? Well, a couple things, inflation, and I, start looking at the price of my cartridges, and I'm using, one of those services like Harry's, I think is the one I use.
Yeah, that's one I use.
It's good, but that's, that become a little bit of a price point thing, and they're sort of stacking up, and it's like we've got enough of these. My face and hair type doesn't do well with multi-blade razors because it pulls the hair out, and you can look this all up online, but there's a thing
commercial. The first blade cuts, the second blade pulls, the third blade pulls more, the fifth blade
yes
wax it off somewhere near your bone marrow
and gives Mark Ramsey ingrown hairs, so you know, because I have very coarse, curly beard hairs. So it was like health wise, maybe this is a good move. And then the third thing was I am like, I guess I'm young enough that I do have that desire for authenticity, the way they did it in the old days. I
Mhm.
got a brush. That is how I soap up my suds. And then I was like, well, it's the logical next step, but I'm afraid. And then a lady at our church, her husband passed away, and she wanted somebody to have his razor. So I have Brother Jack's razor, and turns out it's a 1960s era Gillette, and took it into my barber shop and said, guys, you know what you're doing. And they told me what to do. So, you know, it was like layers of authenticity, right? Like, I think the old way is going to be healthier for my skin and cheaper, and I'll feel good about it. And I go to my barber shop where they do things the old way, and it makes me feel good about it. And take their advice on taking it to the next step here. There's, you know, this is partly why I do classical education in the workplace, right? There's some old things that they feel really good, and it seems like, why are we reinventing the wheel because they already had it figured out? And and that's why I'm now using a safety razor. There you go.
That is awesome. The fact that yeah, so many people were involved.
Yeah, right.
I've got an entire committee working on my face.
Exactly right.
Yeah, I got people at church contributing. I got yeah, people who are no longer with us, giving up the goods. I got a team at the barber shop. Yeah, yeah, I got some manufacturer from some company that none of us have heard of. That's
Right.
that's probably the best. Like it's kind of like all our dealerships
Yeah.
that do such a good job. They're always the ones people don't know about until they
Yeah.
discover them, and then they get the world's most backhand compliment. You guys are the best kept secret in this area.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to be a secret. We'd actually like
Please
to,
tell people.
yeah, we'd like to sell more stuff. So yeah, this razor company, they're probably sitting here making these inexpensive, super high quality blades, and nobody
Ten
knows
bucks for 100 blades.
what.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a significant discount from where I was at. Yeah.
If you just use one blade per shave,
Right.
you're in the course of a lifetime. Yeah, you'll go through that Gandalf area where you won't use any blades at some
Yeah,
point.
that's
But
what I hear. Yeah.
excluding that lost decade, what are you saving? Like
Oh, yeah.
$5,000
That's what.
lifetime savings? How 100 blades for $10?
Yeah. And they are so thin, like I can't explain to you. Like I guess I was thinking that it would be like a, like your box cutter blade that replace the
Yeah,
blade.
something in between that and one of those blades you get for scraping.
Yeah. Yeah.
The razors with razor blades with they got the hard tip on one side where you can hold them to scrape stuff. I figured
Paper
it would be.
thin.
I figured it'd be between those two.
Paper thin. Like I thought, like I had done something wrong when I got it out of the envelope. I was like, that is it, I guess. And you said it. In fact, you know what? This will make for great YouTube. Hang right there. I've got it right over here. I'll show it to you.
We've got visual aids.
You do.
We never have visual aids. We're the whole budget, the whole YouTube channel budget now completely blown out of the water. We've got a free razor and $10 worth of blades, and the budget is shot.
All right, so here's the blades, Dorco brand, right?
Well, look how much money they spent in package design and
Right.
graphics.
Yeah, it's the blade, right?
For those of you listening, not much. like Dorco's nephew probably designed the packaging.
Then it has 10 of these little packages in it.
Ooh.
design.
Okay.
By the way, made in Vietnam, Dorco Company Limited, Republic of Korea. So I guess it's a Korean company. This little box has 10 of these envelopes that have the exact same logo on them. And I've already got one put into my Gillette
Ho, ho.
Select Slim model. So
That
let me
is a
just let's see.
oh
You see that?
that is a beauty.
Yeah, it's sharp. So I'll gotta
Yeah,
spin it up
that's
here.
oh man.
Yeah, it
Mechanism is
opens up,
still flawless.
butterfly design, and that's it. Like I cannot tell you how light it is. It's like just the it feels like I'm not holding anything. So you just slide it down on there and screw it in. There you go. Yeah.
Man, now you have a smoother face and you saved $5,000.
I yes. And again, like
This is crazy.
there's a there's a Squirrel Nut Zippers song. So I've already, by the way, shouted out about a million car dealer people who have said, Mark, you need a safety razor. You need a safety razor. So shout out to Jamie and Mike at Moses Automotive Group. I know specifically I'm thinking of them. But let's also shout out, gosh, I'm trying to decide if, let's shout out Matt, currently with Volkswagen, our friend. I
Mhm.
won't say his last name just in case that gets him in trouble, but we always talked about the Squirrel Nut Zippers song. If it's good enough for Granddad, it's good enough for me. And I think that's a lot of where this is. You know, it's like there's a lot of, I'm Gen X, but there's a lot of millennials, especially, who are like, whatever it is that I got from my baby boomer parents, is there anything older that might be a little more authentic and a little more grounded with the test of time and a little more real with relationships? That's why we've learned, Walmart greeters tend to be grandparents because youngsters don't want to steal from grandma. You know, there's something there. There's something there about, there's a reason vinyl records are back. It's less convenient, but they're back. It's more expensive, I think, in many ways, but they're back. Why? Well, it's something about the old-fashioned ways were good, and trying to recapture that. So that's a little bit of what I'm doing with my Gillette.
Man,
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's so old. It looks like a modern Star Wars device.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of a lightsaber handle with some sort of Millennium Falcon top. like,
I can
like,
see that.
like, where did this come from? Well, the fact that we've added more people, so
Yeah.
so we now have two countries,
Yep.
Vietnam and Korea,
Yep.
helping us out here. And then multiple people besides the ones previously mentioned who, nudged you along the way to this newfound shaving routine.
I mean, if you think about modern society and you're not living in wonder about the very fact of, like, you should just have gratitude all the time, right? About how insanely interconnected globally we are, all the benefits that we get from, the fact that the fact that I was having most of these conversations involved trips away from my house that were at least 3 hours, if not a plane flight away, just so I could talk about this stuff in the downtime and then come back home and have something that, as you pointed out, saves me thousands of dollars and, in some way changes my life. I mean, this is pretty impressive that we live this way.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm a little concerned. Yeah, a year from now you'll be holding up your straight razor and your strap. Yeah.
I I know. Let me just say this: I've had a razor shave with a straight razor, and by a barber, and I think this is actually smoother than what the barbers are able to do with a straight razor.
Wow.
and less painful because I'm in control and know, like the level that my skin can handle on scraping across a blade. So yeah, I'm pretty I mean it was an experiment. I was like, $10 and what it costs to clean up a razor. Might as well try it and can say I did it. Now I'm pretty much sold. So
Oh yeah. Well, it's kind of like my daughter. She's living out in Denver now, and she's even when she was in Indiana, she went on this health food. She was vegan or I don't know. She didn't eat meat for a while, and
I don't know.
yeah, one of those V words. And then so we went out and visited her out in Denver, and so she's buying stuff at Trader Joe's and Whole Foods and
Yeah.
things like that. Her clean eating stuff. And we were there on the weekend, and we're like, like 6 blocks from you is this farmers market that they have every Saturday. Have you been to that? And she's like, nope. So we go down there, and
Ooh.
they've got everything that she's been buying in the store.
Yep.
Only it's the local,
It's
farmers, and
truly hyper local. Yeah.
yeah, and the prices. She was like, prices are the same, and some of them are lower,
Uh-huh.
and it's better quality stuff.
Yep.
So now she's a farmer's market devotee. Uh,
It,
so,
it, it makes a ton of sense. I will tell you, it's funny you said that because I just got a notification that our farmers market is going to have returning to it a local coffee roaster. He roasts his own beans. Now, think about this is just like safety razors, right? Like I could go by Starbucks. I could go by, you know, what Folgers. I could go buy ground coffee and put it into the coffee machine. Um, and we have one out in the garage. But the reality is, I tried the old-fashioned way of making coffee. It's funny because both of these are mentioned in James Bond. This very razor is in a James Bond movie in the 60s. I think maybe Goldfinger. I'm not sure. Um, and in the very first James Bond book, Casino Royale, he drinks coffee out of a Chemex carafe. I got one downstairs. That's how we make coffee now. We grind our own beans and put them through the filter of the little hourglass shape of the Chemex, and it is, I mean, so good. Like it is so good. Now, it's not cheaper, I would guess. Um,
it's got to be
but
cheaper than those K cups, or
yeah, way cheaper than
got to
that,
be
and it's definitely
insanely cheaper
it's
than
cheaper than
that.
Starbucks for sure. Uh,
Right.
but I'm thinking like I probably could buy a canister of Folgers grounds, but like I'm just telling you, it's so much better. Well, again, authentically going back to an older way, just I mean, a farmer's market is that, right? Like we're trying to find things that connect us better than we used to be connected when we all felt like mindless drones in office space. I mean, that's part of what we're experiencing here. It's like we're trying to get away from mass, uh, uh, superficial culture, and be connected to some things that have to do with our roots and with the old ways of doing things. I don't know if I'm saying that very well, but I think that's a big part of. Um, I think if you're an employer, just trying to pull this back into something that means something to the audience of it doesn't take a genius, both of you. I think that an employer needs to think about this not just from our customers are looking for authenticity and something connected to our roots, but our employees are too. And so, how can you, um, you know, I would love to, talk to you about doing this organizationally with your culture building methods. I think the classical education mindset and tools has a lot to offer a business who wants to do this and employees who want to do this. But beyond that, part of that classical education culture is like, are you telling your stories? Are you talking about them enough so that people can connect to what you're bringing to the table? That's rooted in the past and rooted in the improving whatever locality you live in. There are lots of stories to tell that need to be woven into how you not just onboard somebody, but how you recognize them for the future. Like that you're connected to that story. So that's you pressed record because we got onto a tear and you wanted to see what this sounded like. So here we did. We did this.
No, I think you're so right. Yeah, we always talk about the founder story,
Yep.
and then people are fascinated. Like, where does this business come from, and how did it?
Yep.
What are its roots? And then I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, you're probably right. Then people hear those stories, and then they immediately jump to the present and go, all right, are these guys still authentic to who they were when the
Yep.
thing started?
Yep.
And if they are, then you got something. Then you've got people who start to buy in, to the whole thing. And,
Yeah.
and even the brand you mentioned earlier, like Harry's Shave Club,
Yeah.
yeah, so this is a scam, but I signed up for it anyway. And the idea of they just thought, the big companies were ripping everybody off, and they wanted to find an alternative, and they thought they could.
And they bought a factory in Germany or so. I can't remember the story now, but like,
Mhm.
they make knives. We found a place that,
Yeah.
goes back to the olden days.
Yeah, and so they brought all that forward and are doing quite well.
Yes.
And if they were smart and they would learn from their target audience like you, they would go, oh, safety razors. All right, we gotta take it back one more step to
That's an amazing idea for them. I hope they hear this because yeah, why not? I mean, there are companies that are making safety razors today that are chic and gorgeous, but uh, yeah, why wouldn't Harry's do that? That's a great idea.
Oh yeah, just keep going back further and further into the evolution of this thing.
Yeah,
At some point, we'll chip a flint and take a piece of obsidian flake and give it a good whirl.
exactly.
Yeah, it'll work.
And have our barbers be our doctors, just like in the really olden days,
Oh
bleeding
yeah,
us and all sorts of great stuff. Yeah,
bring back bloodletting.
that's right.
Cures everything.
That has to do with our disc episodes.
Bloodletting?
Yeah, disc was the four humors, right?
That's
The
true.
four fluids in your system.
Yep. They had to adjust our fluid levels.
Yeah, your personality was because of those fluid levels. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, some things in the past may not be worth bringing back. That's that might be our cautionary, disclaimer at the end. Not everything.
well, okay,
Right back.
you say that, but think about it. What would a doctor of that age have done? He would have done bloodletting. Okay, yeah, probably don't do that. But he also would have prescribed certain things for your diet to adjust the levels of your humors. Well, we've kind of come full circle where we're saying, okay, we're a little over medicated. A lot of this is pushed by corporate. Are there things that we could eat in our diet? Are there supplements we could take that would adjust our levels? Now we don't think of the four humors anymore, but we are definitely thinking about our own biochemistry. And I think you've brought it up on a previous episode about your heart, and sort of you figured that out.
Oh yeah. Diet played a role. Sleep. Meditative practices. Yeah, all those ancient things.
Yeah. And what was there a supplement involved? Am I remembering that?
Yeah. Magnesium.
That's right, magnesium. So yeah, like we're back to the old ways. Okay, we, through the scientific method, we've got a little better idea of what they're doing and can be a little more targeted. But I mean, in a sense, we've gone back to what are you putting into your system?
Mm-hmm.
That changes things.
Yeah, the idea that magnesium, turmeric, zinc,
Yeah.
none of it comes with a 3-page document of small print side effects. That's my favorite part.
I like that too.
The yeah, I haven't watched. I don't watch any TV, and so the last time I saw TV was the World Series, and I was just stunned at the number of ads for medicine and all
Oh
the
my gosh.
disclaimers. And then the same thing. I watched Game 7 of the NBA Finals because Indiana was in it.
Oh, right,
So,
right.
and same thing. I was just stunned by the commercials and the this might help with this, and it also might do these 75 other just
Right.
medieval torture type
Right.
behaviors to you. Yeah, and you're like, I don't think I want that.
It's like the Olestra, the stuff they put on potato chips that was supposed to be like alternative to, was it alternative fat? I can't remember what it even was, but it if you looked at the disclaimers on all the food products, it always said might cause anal leakage.
Yeah, yeah. I've never wanted a potato chip bad
That
enough
bad.
to risk. Yeah, the well, now they just call it AL. Yeah, yeah, may cause AL. Right, everything's an initial now. So,
Right.
yeah, if you suffer from AL while eating these potato chips, please discontinue their use and see a doctor immediately.
And maybe go to the bathroom.
Yeah, yeah, and don't take any long trips on any lonely highways. It's not going to end well. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, uh I will say to set up our next episode, because I think that's basically what's happening now. I don't know what this is yet, but I have been preparing to tutor my kids that I tutor in our classical education group here locally. And we're using a textbook written by a Catholic priest, I believe in the 50s, maybe a little earlier than that. And he quotes an author that I am going to liberally steal from, and it just hit me across the face. So literally, I was we're talking about going back to older ways. Our homeschool curriculum basically said, written in the 50s, who cares? It's good. It teaches Latin. Let's use it. And so we still use this reprinted textbook from the 50s, and because of that, it uses a large portion of a book written in the 30s by a historian born in the 1800s to set up one of their sections. It's like, why is this even in a book about Latin? And it's in reference to Julius Caesar. That was the connection point. But the reality is that this is so strong, like this goes so hard, as kids said at some point in the recent past,
So
that
you're telling me it's fire.
it it is pure fire. But I'm going to make it into an episode because it had so much to say about leadership today. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be interesting. Have we? I don't know that we started with a point. I don't know that we stopped with a point. But I keep trying to come to something where I'm like, and see, there's why you're listening.
No, no, I think that's the whole point is there's no point. That is
Oh, great. We're Seinfeld now.
yeah, yeah. It just comes back around. But yeah, we never change. We never get better. So
Right, we never get better. That's
the
never a
no,
lesson learned.
yeah. Well, speaking of ancient greats, let's turn it over to our announcer. Thank goodness he never listened.
I would love it if he would come on and tell the story of him being a DJ.
Oh yeah, his DJ stories are fantastic.
We could get him to do that. Anyway, yeah, that's another day.
Yeah. So yeah. Take it away, our man, Mr. Wolf.
And there you have it, another session of contemporaneous extemporizing from Mark and Mike. I know it's redundant, but consider who we're talking about. As always, feel free to share the ideas you heard here. No right to reserve, no permissions needed. Thanks. See you next time on It Doesn't Take a Genius.
That's good enough.